Hello again. Last time we looked at Magnus' famous checkmate against Jon Ludvig Hammer, where Magnus here, Hammer missed that after Rook e1 Magnus could sacrifice his queen and then mate him like that because the knight covers g1. Both of this game and the game I'm going to show you now between Jon Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen. Both of these took place in the World Youth Championship for boys under 14 in 2003. In round 11 it was the decisive game between Jon Nepomniachtchi and Magnus Carlsen who would become the world champion here. But there was also a lot of other strong players here playing in this tournament. So, but this was an important game for the tournament. So let's see. Of course, this is the first game where I'm showing you a game of Jon Nepomniachtchi, but I will show you many more games because Magnus Carlsen will become the best player of his generation, and Jon Nepomniachtchi will become the second best player. So they will play a lot of World Championship matches and so on against each other, as you probably know if you follow this series this far. So Jon is white and he plays c3 Sicilian, known as the Alapin variation. There is knight f6 and d5. Magnus chooses d5 here, and here Magnus plays a g6. A little bit of an uncommon move, but a very playable move, of course. This is like a famous line here. Now white can play this bishop e3 here, and this is very tricky for black. If it takes the bishop, then white has this tactic, and like king f8 it's just queen d7 and same thing, and after this he forks and wins black's queen, and same tactic is possible here. Also again, bishop takes f7. So both Magnus and Jon for sure knows this one, because I also knew this tactic. It's common tactic. So that's why Magnus plays knight h6 to cover f7. So you can't do that. And then this is the theory move. Bishop knight b5, and it's like that. And white takes back on d4. If he would try to win an exchange here, that would be very bad for white, because now the bishop on c4 is threatened also. So he has to take back. So and he takes with the pawn. That's the computer's recommended move. Now knight c7 is a threat, so Magnus covers that. And we get like quite a normal position with an isolated pawn. Looks fine for both. Magnus trades queens. The computer doesn't like that so much, but it looks fine to me. As a general rule, when you're playing against the isolated pawn, which is this pawn on d4, you want to trade pieces. I guess the reason why the computer doesn't like it is because it's a weak pawn on b6 here. So white just wins that and wins a pawn. Of course, if you have won a pawn, then it doesn't matter so much. If one of your pawns is weak, you're a pawn up. So. And here apparently the computer liked to take the bishop pair better here with knight takes c8. Computers love bishop pairs. So white is a pawn up, but black has some chances to defend, obviously, but it's not a happy opening for Magnus, because you are like a pawn down. Best that can happen is that you hold a draw, and you will probably have to play a long time. White will try to win forever from a relative risk-free position. But let's see what happens. This game will get quite a bit more exciting. As you can see, also the players are rated 2450 each, so they are like at the same rating right now, which is obviously very good. If you're only 13, 2450 being 13 years old is obviously very good. So they're playing around here. I'm just gonna go a little bit faster maybe, because there will be some interesting stuff here at the end. And here it is. I think Magnus makes quite a nice exchange sacrifice here, and the computer also think that's the best move. He's being a bit passive, but this exchange sacrifice gives him the 2 bishops and quite a nice position. Of course, yeah, he's an exchange down, but computer thinks it's even now, so it was a nice exchange sacrifice by Magnus. And he also got a pawn for it now, and 2 pawns even. So now, yeah, looks like the game is even here. Here Magnus makes a mistake. I guess he thought it was dangerous here if white can play knight d6, bishop d7, rook c7, and it's annoying pin here, but the computer is not so worried. Also, instead of sacrificing there, maybe rook a1. If he's afraid that white will get dangerous activity, rook a1 just trades the rooks, and it should be a relatively easily draw. But Magnus offers here, which the computer doesn't like. But we get to see an interesting here with rooks against bishops. But yeah, obviously now the bishop are not so strong alone. Black would need like a rook also to create some play against white's king, I think, because the rooks is just too strong in the endgame here. And he makes a good sacrifice here. Jon makes a good sacrifice to get an active king here, and you can see computer already thinks this is winning, and here Magnus resigns. And so Magnus will have to wait until he will become world champion. But Jan didn't win either, because I think he lost in the next round. So player Shigalku won the tournament on the same points as MBL, and Jan got half a point less than those players. So but it was still I think it was still an interesting game here, where they like sacrificed the exchanged back and forth, and also like it's there will be so many more good games between these two players. Like it's interesting to see what they play when they were kids. And also that player MVL, who's got shared first place in this tournament, is also a player that Magnus will play many times. So next time I will show you a game from the tournament Vacancy from 2004, and that was when Magnus got very, very famous because he played some incredibly nice games in that tournament. So see you then.